You care about these kids, and when you see them struggling or going through tough times, it affects you emotionally. Welcome back to Teacher Tales, where we give you the keys to overcoming teacher burnout to find work-life balance and educational bliss, if it still exists. On this interview episode of Teacher Tales, we uncover two invaluable insights, taking your skills from industry and translating them into teaching tools for success, and how to manage your emotions as a teacher to prevent burnout. Lastly, we bring it full circle with the 5 W's and H, where we discuss some fun teacher topics like restroom policies and memorable students. Now, introducing finance expert and seasoned middle and high school teacher, Carol Zeitz. Okay, so obviously we have to start at the beginning. So how did you get into education? Where have you taught? How long have you been teaching? Give us the whole spiel.
Okay, so I actually was working in industry, in corporate for years, and then was working for myself for several years. Never even imagined being a teacher. When
Like
my
most of us.
Right. When my daughter was in middle school, I started volunteering actually I did Girl Scouts from the time my daughter was kindergarten through middle school. And then my husband started worrying about me because I was spending more time working on my volunteer work than on my job. Still doing fine with the job, but I was very motivated.
Found something.
Yes. And it was his idea. He said, you're bored in your work, you should be a teacher. And I kind of laughed it off actually for a couple of months because I'd never imagined it. But then he kind of put this bug in my head. And so I started looking into it. And 6-7 months later, I had made a shift. I'd gone through all of my alt certification and done all my tests and was done. I'd been in business for a long time. So when I went to get certified, they thought I wanted to be a business teacher, but I didn't. I really wanted to change what I was focusing my time on. So I taught ELA first, moved that into broadcast journalism, and then now I've come full circle back to high school. So I taught middle school for 8 years. This is my first year in high school teaching business courses. So it actually feels kind of cool. I've kind of gone full circle back to my roots, but also still teaching, which is, I have realized, is definitely where my, passion sounds like such a corny word, but
Right.
where my energy is, where
Yes.
I feel good coming to work every day. Not to say it's not tiring.
It's something.
It's something. 4:45 alarm clock is really early.
4:45 is tough.
Yeah, it's tough. But we get out earlier, right?
Yes.
So middle school, it wasn't as early, but now it's early because it's high school here. And so anyway, ninth year and loving it.
So what did you do in the industry that you kind of feel like prepared you to be a teacher? Because you weren't in industry thinking, I'm going to use this to be a teacher.
Right.
But whenever we come from something else, there's always, they talk about the toolkit, or your tool belt. There's always some of these things that we can go, okay, well, I've had to do this before. So this is kind of similar to the situation I'm dealing with in the classroom or outside of the classroom. So what are some things that you feel like you learned in industry that helped you when you became a teacher?
So I think one of the things that I learned early on in my career that I was good at was, not surprisingly, I guess, was teaching other people how to do the things we needed to do at work. So whenever we would get I was an accountant for a while and then a financial analyst for a while. I did a lot with Excel. So whenever we would get new software or a new system we needed to use at work, I loved to play around with it.
You were the guru.
I was the goober, right? The nerd that would sit and play with it and figure it all out. Because I've never been afraid to do that. I figure if I break something, somebody will come around and fix it later.
Right. IT, get on it.
Yes. And so, so I taught other people how to do things. So I think obviously that's like a direct correlation into what I'm doing now. I also think being out in the corporate world taught me the importance of communication. And I think, which you can appreciate.
Yes, right up my alley.
Right, Profcom. But, and I think not only has that helped me communicate with other adults here in the building, but even though my whole other career was dealing with grown-ups and adult human beings, I still think, yes, we talk to children differently, but on some level we shouldn't, and we don't.
Agreed.
We should talk to them the way that we expect them to talk when they become grown-ups.
Yes.
And so I think that has been very helpful and useful in the classroom as well.
That's something that I really try to do. Like, I'm not going to say I don't sugarcoat, because I think people get into this thing where like, oh, I don't sugarcoat anything. At some point you become rude instead of real. Mm-hmm. So you can be real and be truthful, but I do think tact is important with how you are speaking to people, and that changes depending on who you're speaking to. Mm-hmm. Like, and you know this in the classroom, some kids you got the kind of relationship with where you can talk to them a certain way, or you can explain things to them a certain way, and it may not even be anything like really deep. Like, so I'm a basketball player, so I can use a basketball reference with a kid and they'd get it, as opposed to something else. And then you may not be able to use that same reference with another kid. But like you said, all of that is just communication and kind of learning your audience and figuring out how to do that. And so being able to kind of speak in an adult way and model that, right? There we go, modeling.
There we go, modeling.
Being able to model that does help them to kind of appreciate and to understand, even if they don't get it now.
Right.
Eventually, they'll go, dang, Mr. Franklin was a professional. I'm using air quotes here because I'm not always professional in class.
Me neither.
And they go, well, Mr. Franklin was a professional person and he taught us how to be professional. And this is what he showed us. So I think kind of by osmosis, they'll go, well, this is what I know to be professional. Let me just do this. Mm-hmm. And then obviously, like we all do, we kind of put our own spin on things.
Right. I think I'm kind of a mix between, I don't know. I used to use the phrase with my middle schoolers, like a tough love mom and a professional. And here in high school, I'm a little more of the professional than the tough love mama, right? Because they're not 11 and 12 and 13 years old anymore. Right. They're a little bit older. But I still catch myself kind of using mom phrases, right? Like, kid does a good job on a test, right? And like, I catch their eye when they're done, when I see their score, and I might, say, good job, honey. Like, I'm calling a kid honey. Like, sometimes I'm all scared they're going to go home and like tell their parents something weird, right? But like every kid to me is like, honey, sweetie, like sugar, because I'm old. Like, for those of like, you can't see me, but I'm old. I'm not like some little 25, 30-year-old person here. So they know that like I'm saying this out of like this mom, for them, almost grandma age, right? And so, I'm a cross between that, but then you're right. When you do have to have the tough conversations with the kids that aren't doing what they need to do, you can do it with kindness, but you still have to do it in a professional manner. You can't treat them like babies, because these children, especially here in high school, are not babies, and they are going to be out in the real world very soon, whether that's college or a job or a tech school or wherever, the military. None of those people are going to sugarcoat anything.
No. And they may not be professional or nice at all.
That's true.
It just is what it is.
Yes.
But you talked about the language that you use, kind of being that mom thing. I think that students, they understand it when they know that it's authentic. And that's when I feel like I'm not going to say you don't have to worry about those emails because of the times that we live in.
Sure.
But more often than not, they're like, oh, well, that's Miss So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so. Like, that's just how they talk. It's not a me thing, or it's not a singling out thing.
Right.
And as long as you're not being disrespectful or belittling kids, for the most part, because they're at that age where they're starting to understand things too. And if they don't, then they should be learning it, just like we're talking about. Like for me, I still feel like a kid sometimes, especially when I get around kids that remind me of me. It's really easy to kind of example. So I got this little basketball hoop in my room. I don't know if it was a great idea or a bad idea, but when we're done with work, a lot of times, especially, if you have like that extra time, like advisory, that kind of stuff, if they don't have something planned for us.
Right.
Some kids are, they shoot. And this is one of my best class periods too. I love that class. Shout out to fourth period. But I find myself, I'm yelling and one, or, you're not going to make that shot. Bro. You can't shoot from there, so that,
right.
Myself, I come out in these things, and the kids, I think those are the things that they love the most.
Yes.
When you can just be who you are, and then they can gravitate to that, and then you're not going to get every kid,
right. But you get some.
Exactly. And that is the goal, to get some.
Yes.
Because I'm going to get some, you're going to get some.
Somebody else is going to get a few more.
Exactly.
And, it'd be great to think between all of us, we hit every
get
kid,
everybody, hopefully.
Right? Somehow, some way.
Yeah. So, and the hardest part, and we'll jump to like the difficult part, right? The hardest part can be trying to get those kids that that nobody has them.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that can lead to one of the parts of our conversation, which is the burnout. And that part is more emotional.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to deal with, especially coming from middle school, where those emotions with those kids, and they're all over the place.
They're all over the place.
So how did you figure that out?
Well, I do. I have trouble with it. I have a daughter. So I love all my kids. I'll just say this before I say what I'm about to say. I love all my kids, but I have a real soft spot for girls. Like for girls that, especially the ones that seem to not quite have like a friend group, don't quite know where they're supposed to be, And so I've always kind of tried to find that one, like in each class period, that might just need a little bit more attention, whatever. But this year, it's been really interesting this year. All of my kids that like my one in my class, they're all boys. Like there's all these boys that need help this year.
Yeah.
Like that are struggling. And actually even this week, I'll be honest, has been a little bit emotional. I have a student who's been out, and I've learned just had a very difficult 6 weeks mentally. And it was really hard to find out, because when they're absent a lot, you really don't know. You don't know why. In fact, you don't even know for sure whether maybe they've just unenrolled themselves and they're staying home and doing online school and nobody's told you yet. And that kind of thing, right?
I've had a similar situation recently.
Yeah. So when you find out that they're going through something that you didn't know. And then the interesting thing is, when I think about this kid in my class, he always asks questions when he needs help. He's willing to talk to me. He's open with me not about those struggles, but just about, like, I can tell that I might be his person on this campus. We've never sat and talked about it like that, know.
But just natural.
But naturally, I know that, like, hearing that he's very unhappy at school and doesn't like going to class and doesn't like being in the building, I wanted to like speak up and go, okay, but wait, he doesn't think that in my room, does he? Because I think he likes my room.
Right.
Nobody said that, but that's how I felt. So then it kind of like you hope that's true, but then now I've been kind of like angsty, if that's a word. Like I'm feeling really worried. Like maybe, like, did I contribute to the problem when I thought I was helping the problem? Like, I don't know. Those are the kind of struggles that we have, because we do care about these kids. We care about them a lot.
We care. I don't want to say more than we should, because I feel like there is an appropriate level of care that we have to have.
Yes.
And it's just like they're your own kids. Like we're with these kids every single day.
Right.
They're like so much. And then just over the course of, a semester, a year, and then if you have kids for multiple years, and the ones that come back to your room and they're like, hey, I was just, how's it going? And they don't have to do that. Those kids, so you care about these people.
Right.
And, so when things are going on, especially when, sometimes you have kids that you just click with.
Yeah.
You know, you talk to them, and like from day one, it's like, that's my dog right there. You know, we good. You know,
Yeah.
and then when you start to learn like things are going on with them or with their family, and they're struggling, they're out. You know, they're in and out. So that is
It's hard.
really hard. You know?
Yeah.
And then I don't know what's harder, not knowing or knowing. Because once you know, like, the story,
Yeah.
it's like,
It never goes
golly,
away.
I had no idea that was going on. So, like, I'm always, like, telling kids, like, man, you know, I'm praying for you and your family, you know,
Sure.
regardless of what they believe, you know.
Yeah.
I think people typically will go, like, I accept the prayer. Like, whoever
Yeah.
you're praying to, wherever it's
Yeah.
coming from.
Whatever. I'll take whatever you want to give.
Because it's the
right?
heart behind it.
It's the heart. Yeah. And these kids, and I do think it's one thing that makes this job different from other jobs. I think when you go to a that's not to say adults don't care about the people they work with, because they do. They care very much, just like we care about the adults in this building.
Oh, yeah.
But it's different when you're talking about children.
Yeah.
And I just feel like most adults can understand that. You know, my husband understands that when I come home really upset about something that's happening with a kid, that's not the same as when he comes home and he's worried about a coworker.
Right.
Because it's a child. They are still children.
There's a vulnerability there.
Yes.
Like, things are so much out of their control.
Yeah. And a lot of it is most definitely out of their control.
Yeah. And so we hold them accountable, and we get on them when it's in their control. And
Yes.
they just...
Exactly.
I use this word in my class because I think it's a funny sounding word. Well, one of my kids, not just one, but I'll use the word bums. So somebody knocked his vase over today, and it gets water all over stuff. The vase is still knocked over. I'm like, I don't even know who did this. So I will have to, like, rephrase, instead of saying whoever that did this is a bum. I have to now use the phrase like, okay, this is bum behavior. Whoever knocked this over, it just didn't say anything, because obviously I wasn't at my desk. But
so this was on your desk?
It was on my desk.
And your stuff?
On my stuff.
And nobody apologized?
Nobody. I don't even think they knew.
And just so the listeners understand, these kids love him.
Uh-huh.
Like, no, it's not. Like, it's for real. This is what the kids say. The kids say, "Oh my gosh, I love Mr. Franklin. Mr. Franklin's awesome. Mr. Franklin's the best." When they love you and yet you're still a hard grader, that's like the highest compliment you can ever get as a teacher.
Oh, that's good to hear.
I mean, that's good. So the fact that they would, like, not fess up to the vase is shocking to me. Shocking. I'm on a hunt now. I'm gonna find out.
No, there's no hunt. There's no hunt. So, like, when we talk about that burnout and that emotional part, sometimes it's just like, okay, all right, let me check myself, right? Do I think somebody knocked this over on purpose and spilled water everywhere and destroyed my docking station? No. The answer is no.
Right.
It doesn't take the frustration away, but you kind of have to put it in perspective. So, like...
Well, they probably did it with that basketball that you had.
Oh, no. Well, you know, I hope not.
See, I'm just saying. Like, so maybe it comes back around.
Maybe it's my own fault. I indirectly knocked the vase over myself.
Yeah, you're the bum.
I am.
You're the bum with the bum behavior.
So, how do you keep those emotions in check? Because a lot of times they can run really hot, and you want to get on somebody, but you got to go, wait a second. Let me not cross over the line. Or sometimes, like we talked about, you can get really sad because things, for one reason or another. So how do you kind of keep those emotions in the middle?
So a lot of times I'm really honest with the kids. I'll just tell them. Like, not if I don't tell them about anger too much, but like if I'm sad about something, even if it's something personal, a lot of times I'll share. Yeah. I'll be honest with them. You know, guys, something is going on. How much I share depends on what it is, right?
Right.
But guys, I got a lot on my plate right now. There's something going on with my family. I'm worried about somebody. So I'll just be honest with you. I'm not in the best mood, and we're going to get through today. And I just need you to support that and understand it. And
do this
9
worksheet,
times out of
leave me
10,
alone, please.
They will step right up. Like, they will rise to the occasion. Over my 9 years, have I lost my temper in a classroom? Absolutely. Like, absolutely. Over the past 2-3 years, probably not. I don't know what's changed. I think I finally just said it doesn't do any good to yell.
Yeah.
All yelling does is create more yelling.
Yes.
Create more frustration, create more anger for me and for the kids, right? I have learned to respond to poor behavior, I think a lot of times with humor. I have a group of boys in my 6th grade class, my 6th period class. Actually, shout out to my 6th period. I love you guys.
Shout out.
They are hilarious. They are ridiculous. They are 10th graders and they are like on fire, like super smart, super bright, but they are nuts and they can get pretty out of control. And so, I just sort of realized that they were okay with sarcasm. And so I am pretty rough on them. Yeah. But they take it like champs. And like all of them are in my organization, like my club. They all joined. They were like, see, we're here, Ms. Zeitz, we're here.
It's like,
and
y'all
I'm
better
like,
be here.
No, I was kind of like, oh, yay.
But no, it is.
But no, I'm really glad because they're really bright. Like maybe we'll win some competitions, right?
Yeah,
like they're fantastic. But I could have responded to their misbehavior with frustration and anger and yelling and demanding of different behavior. And I still demand different behavior, but we deal with it now with humor, guys. And all I have to do is look across the room and they're like, oh, okay. Oh, stop it. And they police themselves.
Yeah. I think that's when you know that you have classroom culture, when the other students start to police it. It's like, hey, man, be quiet. Like, come on, you heard the bell ring. Those kinds of comments, on the inside as the teachers are like, yes, they figuring it out. They understand how things work in here.
Right.
So, speaking of how things work, whenever you're trying to find out information, you got to start with the 5 W's and the H. So, that's what we are going to do here. So, I'm going to let you choose which ones we do in the order. So, we got who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Okay. Who? We'll just go in order.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's the student you'll remember forever?
Can it be sad?
Yeah.
I had a student my 2nd year of teaching that I was teaching ELA. She was writing me essays about monsters coming into her room at night.
Oh, man, that's heavy.
And her parents pulled her out and enrolled her in a new school when we started to investigate. And she's gone. And I have no idea where she is and what's happened to her.
Dang.
I know. But I will never forget her because I worry about her still every day.
You just don't know.
Don't know.
I'm sure there are people out there with the same kinds of stories, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because things happen. So it is important for us to be here and investigate. Sometimes that's what it takes.
Yes.
So moving on to the what.
Okay.
Going in order.
Okay. What's
your restroom policy? And do or did you ever have a crazy restroom pass?
So middle school, we had very strict policies for campus. So here at high school, my restroom policy is don't ask to go while I'm talking. But other than that, you can go and I write you a little pass on a Post-it note and you go and you come back. You get 4 minutes and you better be back.
4 minutes. I like it.
The reason I only use a Post-it note is because I tried to have a really cute, cool little restroom pass, which was I teach business courses. So it was a $100 bill printed out giant.
Okay.
On a string to wear around their neck. So they didn't actually have to touch it while they were in the bathroom. And somebody lost it on the 2nd day of school and it never came back. So yeah, that was before my classroom culture was in place. So I'm
Right.
just going to assume it was somebody who, is no longer with me, like maybe got transferred out, something.
Mm-hmm.
I could try it again, but
You should.
I mean,
Well, that's like something that somebody probably would want to take because it's cool.
right?
It's a
Because
big $100
it's like
bill.
kind of cool,
I
right?
can kind
You
of
wear
flex
it like
with
a
that.
big OG thing around their necks kind of thing. So I need something ugly is what you're saying.
Something
It needs to be
ugly.
ugly.
Where you go, I have to take this? Yes, and you
Yes.
can't leave without it. And you better come back or nobody else can go.
I don't know what that's going to be. I don't know. Like, yeah. So there we go.
Okay. When did you begin to feel confident in yourself as a teacher? Like, I think I got this.
Next year. No. Maybe around year 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then around year 7, I started to get like a little worried again.
Uh-oh.
Like, it goes in phases.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was worry. It was more boredom, right?
Okay.
So like I'm becoming I'm not doing my best anymore because I'm bored and I need something to change kind
Oh,
of
okay.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it wasn't that I didn't feel confident. It was just that I knew I wasn't doing what I needed to
Right.
be doing. But
Yeah.
yeah, maybe around year 4, I really started feeling like maybe I knew what I was doing. Maybe.
What was it about? Was there like a certain experience or was there a feeling like school is starting? You kind of like, I got this, or anything that you could specifically point to?
Well, that was actually a weird year. I say year 4, and then now I'm not sure why, because year 4, I actually switched curriculums. But I switched curriculums because I was being asked to do another role on campus
Mm-hmm.
that was part-time. So I couldn't teach ELA part-time. I needed to teach an elective instead, kind of thing. So maybe it was because I felt like people valued what I brought to the table and were recognizing that I had other talents and abilities that I could offer to the campus. So maybe that was why I kind
Okay.
of felt like I knew what I was doing.
Okay. When people start going, hey, can you do this? Because
Yeah.
we kind of like what you're doing, so we
Yeah.
trust you.
Yeah. Could you mentor other teachers? Well, okay.
He's like,
Okay.
You think I can be a
Maybe
mentor?
I can.
Okay.
Oh, you haven't been in my room much, have you? But okay. No.
Okay, where is our next one?
Uh-oh.
Where did you see yourself 5 years ago? Are you there, or did the plan change along the way?
Oh, the plan changed because the plan always changes
It
for
does.
me. The plan, I am not I don't want to say I'm not a stick with a thing kind of person because I am, but
Mhm.
I am not a get stuck in a rut, do the same thing for 20 years kind of person.
Oh, no.
So 5 years ago, did I think I'd be teaching high school? No. 5 years ago, I probably swore I would never teach high school.
Mm.
And now, like, here I am and it's great. So definitely changed.
Well, we are glad to have you.
Thank you. I am happy to be here.
It's so funny when you got hired, and I think I didn't meet you until, was it after all of the training? We didn't get a chance to like really
didn't get a
sit
chance to
and talk.
talk,
Yeah.
right.
So, but once we had that, I don't know, it was like an hour and a half
Yeah. We
conversation.
just random sat and chat.
And I was like, yep, she's going to be good here. She's going to be great here, actually. You just got that magnetism.
Thank you. I appreciate
you got
that.
the energy, so it's easy to tell, when you sit and talk to somebody like,
Well, it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not going to last.
Or, yeah.
Or other things.
Or other things. But yeah, no, I'm really happy to be here and I'm excited to be here. Like, that's why I say, like, I don't want to say I don't stick to things because I am. I like, if the next part of the question were, where do you see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years, I expect to still be here. Because this kind of feels like I said earlier, I've kind of come full circle. I was a business major in college
Mm-hmm.
and then worked in business. So now combining teaching of business, right, really does feel full circle. Whether
Yeah.
I'll be teaching the same exact business classes, who knows, because things change in our district and they change in the
All the
environment in the
time.
world, right? But teaching in high school at this level, this has been such a great transition for me.
I love teaching high school kids.
They're cool. They're
Amen.
fun. I mean, middle school's fun because they still want to hug you. Like, I
No,
have to
don't
admit,
hug me.
I'm missing hugs.
Really?
Yeah, I'm missing
Nah.
hugs. Like, I had girls that would just hug me like every day. I would get hugs. So I'm kind of missing the hugs, but it's okay because I don't really want to get hugged at high school level. That's a
It's
little
a
whole
bit
different
different.
story. But but other than that, like, high school is really fun. My seniors are a lot of fun because we sit and have all kinds of conversations in my
Yes.
senior classes
Yes.
because they're like about
different.
to go
It's
be
different.
adults. Yeah.
Okay, we got why
Okay.
and we got how. So we'll go with why is the profession so difficult? It's a very broad question. Why is it so difficult for you? It's difficult for us all in some kind of way.
Right. I think the difficulty for me, I think I'm going to phrase it in a bigger question. I think the biggest issue with the industry, with education right now,
Mhm.
is so many people trying to give their opinions and make decisions about what education should look like when they are not here.
Yep.
They are not in the room. And yes, many of them are parents, but they are not here in this room. They don't see what we do all day. They
Mhm.
don't understand what we do. And so the parameters, the rules, the requirements, the things they want to say we can and can't do when they have no idea.
No idea.
That I think is the biggest frustration and worry that I have about education in the United States.
The same parents that don't even want to volunteer, want to talk about,
Yeah, I mean,
what
a
we
lot of
need to
times
do.
it's the same. Yeah.
And they haven't been in a high school classroom in 30 or 40 years sometimes.
Right. I mean,
So, and
yeah.
they've never done it as a teacher.
Right.
And times
And-
have changed.
And they don't, some of them don't see how their kids behave,
Oh my goodness.
you know,
That is a whole
like, and that's a whole nother podcast.
man.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Last one. How?
Okay.
How do you keep coming back to school every day when an alarm goes off
At 4:45?
How do you do it?
I really do believe that my kids, meaning my students, will miss me if I'm not here.
Mm.
Not all of them. Some of them are probably glad. But if you run your room right and
Mhm.
you come in the next day after you've been gone, sick, appointments, whatever, and every class period kids are like, "Where were you? We missed you. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, that sub was crazy," or whatever,
Always.
right?
The sub
like
is
it's
always
always
crazy.
crazy, right? Whether it's the really sweet kids or whether it's the crazy kids that are telling you that, the
Mhm.
fact that they're like, "We missed you. Where were you?" Even if they don't say the words, "We missed you," it's about the relationship and
Yeah.
being here. So, yeah, I mean, I got into teaching late in life, and because I felt like I had something to give to kids, and the kids are what keep me coming back.
The where were you for me when I'm out is
Mhm.
where were you? That's the tone. I'm like, well, hold on, like I'm grown. I don't have to be every day. Dang. And that's exactly how
Or
I
it's
say
none
it.
your business.
Like, what you mean? I was out doing what I was doing.
Mhm.
That's how we talk. But
Yeah.
you know, it's sometimes it's, well, I couldn't make it. Okay, so I'm here today. What you gonna do?
Mhm.
You better have that work done.
That's right. Did you do what I left you to do?
Did
And
you
then they
submit your
go,
work?
And their faces go from smiles to,
Yeah,
uh-oh.
now they don't have anything to say.
Mhm.
Well, this was amazing as I thought it would be. And that's why I asked you to come on the show.
Thank you. This was fun. I would love to come back whenever you want.
Voila. I hope you all enjoyed that conversation between me and Miss Zeitz. It was a pleasure having her on, as I knew it would be. And she will be back. But remember, every experience you have adds a new skill set you can use in your classroom as a tool for teaching and learning. And be mindful of the emotional stress you take on. It affects us at home, at school, and everywhere else in between. Of course, if you enjoyed this episode, listen to the next one. They come out twice a week. Thank you for listening. Keep teaching, keep learning, and I will see you all on the next journey.